Hey creative friends, hey Rebecca here, and I am still having fun with these NFC tags. Today's video I think is fantastic because I'm going to show you exactly how I've set this up for this tag to execute a Python script on my phone. And so very, very powerful. So this first tag is just going to simply on my phone, you'll see that it executes a tasker and then it will just display hello world. So a very simple Python script that we'll start off with. And so I'll bring my phone in and it just scanned it and there is our hello world message. And of course you can adjust those timings to get that to stay on the screen however long you want. All right, this one is a little bit more powerful. I have shown how to control a smart plug with Python before, and so now I'm going to execute a very similar Python script on my phone, but using this NFC tag. So if you can, let's see, let me bring this in so you can see this monstrosity. I've got a heavy-duty extension cord, and then in that is just this TP-Link smart plug, and this is what is going to be controlled with the Python script. It's got a USB adapter with this inexpensive USB lamp from IKEA. That's very cool. So let me get this set up and we will bring the tag over and I will show you with my phone. Hopefully all that is in focus and in view, and hopefully this plug will turn on, which will then turn on the light. Yeah, there it goes. A little bit of a delay, but it works perfect. And so I have set up that Python script to, if the lamp is off, it goes ahead and turns it on. But if the lamp is on and I want to turn it off, it will also do that. So the same tag is going to be running the same Python script to now turn it off. Very, very cool. All right, so what I want to do, this is going to be a little bit longer video, but I want to show you step by step to exactly how I created this. So if you've just found me on the internet and you think this is pretty cool, then please go ahead and hit subscribe. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers, so I really appreciate it. Okay, step one. So to get this to work on an Android phone, you're going to need 3 different apps installed. And so we need NFC tools so that we can write the instructions to our NFC tag. All it's going to do is then execute a tasker task. And so you need tasker. Both of these you are going to install from the Play Store. And NFC tools is free. The free version will be just fine. And then Tasker does have a small charge for it. I think it was $3.99 when I downloaded it, but I think it's super worth it. It's a great tool to be able to automate things on your phone, whether you're using these tags or not. So Tasker. So these two get from the Play Store. Then you're also going to need something called Termux, which is a fantastic Android application which gives you like a terminal emulation. So very, very powerful. Some of our old Unix commands will come in handy. I'll show you some of those. We're really going to be just at like a DOS prompt environment where we'll be able to execute commands just from a command line environment. All right, and so in addition to that program, you're also going to need a special plug-in so that Termux can communicate with Tasker. And so you're going to need both of these last 2 features. Do not get them from the Play Store. You need to go to f-droid.org to be able to download those. They are free, but do not get them from the Play Store. The Play Store has the old versions of them. So, all right. So with that, we're on an Android phone and we're going to have all 3 of these apps and this last plugin installed. Also worth mentioning, whenever you get this NFC tools, make sure you go ahead and download the NFC tools and NFC tasks. So these two go hand in hand, and they are the free version, which will be fine. So NFC tools and NFC tasks. Okay, so once you've got these apps, what's going to end up happening is you're going to program NFC tools. You're going to program the tag to execute a tasker task. And so that's our first step. We're going to go to NFC tools, And we're going to go over here to tasks, to add a task, and then it's down here under various other tasks. And it's lower in the list here. You can see a very extensive list even for these other things you get with the Pro paid version. But thankfully this one you don't need the paid version for, because there is an option in here for tasker. So run a tasker task, and that's what we're going to do. And so you can come in here, you can name this anything you want. I'm going to simply name it hello. All right, and so this tag is going to execute a task called hello within inside the tasker application. So we're ready to say okay, and then I'm going to write. I'm going to end up overwriting this tag, but that's okay because I want to show you step by step. We're going to overwrite this tag, and so we're going to tell it to write those instructions. It wants me to approach the tag. And there it goes. Write is complete. So that's really the first step. So now this tag, it's not going to do anything yet, but now the tag has been told to execute a tasker task. And we're going to launch this app. It may have some default boxes that will come up. You can read through them, but I'm just going to say no for that. And then I want to go over here to tasks, because we're going to create a new task. Now keep in mind what we named it. We named it hello. All right, and so we have to name the task exactly the same, and I believe it is case sensitive. So we did it hello, all lowercase. So we're going to, there's no tasks in here right now, so we're going to create, and then I'm going to create from scratch. So I'm going to use this create option in the middle, and it wants me to name it first. So we're going to call it hello in lowercase. All right, and then give it the check mark. All right, and so now we've got a brand new task. It wants us to add an action. All right, and so here is where we are going to go down and look at the plugins. Now, I don't think I've installed my plugin yet, so let me go check. Yeah, see, I don't have any plugins yet. So let me go install from PF Droid that Termux and the plugin. All right, so on this F-Droid site, I'm going to go down and search for apps. We're going to get the Termux. All right, now I'm going to get just the plain Termux, just this one right here. You don't need the GUI. So I'm going to get that one first and then come back and get this plug-in, the Termux Tasker. So I'm just going to follow the defaults for both of these. Okay, so I got Termux installed and the Termux Tasker plugin. I just went with the most recent version of both of those. You may have to configure something on your phone to allow them to download and install. But once that is ready to go, then we're going to go back to Tasker. And now I'm back under tasks. I'm going to create a brand new task. Here in the middle, just hit create. And I'm going to call it hello in all lowercase. And I'm going to give that the check mark. All right, and now it wants me to add a task. And this time, whenever we go to select an action, we should have the plugin now. So scroll down to plugin, and then you'll notice now it recognizes that we have plugins installed, and this Termux Tasker is one of them. So we're going to click on that. Let's see, it's telling me that it's disabled, so may have to restart my phone at this point. Let me try that. Okay, so I'm just going to double check these permissions. This phone is working, and so this is a new phone I'm setting up for scratch to make sure I don't forget anything. And so I do want to make sure I add some permissions. So it may look different on your phone, but I've gone into setup to apps and then scroll through all the apps and get down to Tasker. And so in Tasker, I need to add some additional permissions. So I know for sure that I need to add the files and media. And so let me go ahead and do that. And I'm going to allow all. And then location doesn't really matter so much for these tags, but I do want to look at this additional, yeah, here we go. So run commands in Termux environment. That's going to be important for the Python NFC tags. So let me now go on this phone, and I'm going to come down here to additional, and I do want to run things in Termux, so I'm going to allow that. Again, this may look different on your phone. And then I will tell you, if I have not run these in a while, these permissions get turned off on my phone automatically. That's just an Android setup. I'm sure I could change that somewhere, but if you don't use these regularly, then these apps automatically start taking permissions away just as a security feature. So just be aware of that. If you go for a while without using these NFC tags, then it could be just permissions problems that you run into. All right, so let's see. I think I've got, I'm not going to worry about the location permission, but I think I've got, yes, that looks like that should work. And so what I'm going to do now is go back to Tasker. Let's see. Okay, now that we've got the permissions set, I believe we're okay to set this up to where Tasker can communicate with Termux now. So we're going to go to Tasker, and we're going to just bypass this first screen here. I'm not interested in that at this point. But I am going to come down and create a new task. So I'm in the Task tab. So create a new task, hit Create, and I'm going to call it Hello in lowercase, because that's what we put on our NFC tag. And so we name our task Hello. We're going to click on the check mark. All right, now it wants us to add an action. And so I'm going to come down here to the bottom. We're going to add an action. There's a long list of different actions. We want to go down to the plugin, and it does recognize our Termux Tasker plugin. And when we click on that this time, then now it gets into this successfully. So I'm pretty sure this was involved with the permissions needed to be set. Okay, so now there's a lot going on in here, but as of right now, all I'm going to do is go to Configuration, and then we're going to give it a name for the Python file that we're going to run. Now this Python file doesn't exist yet, and so we're just going to type in the name of the Python file. But I do want you to pay attention. The Python file has to be in a very specific location, otherwise you have to put the full path. And so we're going to use this default location, and I'll show you how to set this up later, but there is a very specific folder that they want you to put the executable files in, and so that's what we're going to do. So this is a Python task, and all it's going to do is a hello world. So I'm literally going to now call even the file hello, and I'm just going to keep it as all lowercase here. So it's going to be hello.py, because that's the extension we need for a Python file. So hello.py. I'm going to leave everything else as defaults in here. And then we are going to simply hit the back button. All right, now this won't do anything yet because this file, again, it still doesn't exist yet, but I'm trying to show you in order of the steps. So we're going to get it. The tag is going to run Tasker, and now Tasker is going to go run this Python file, which will reside in a Termux folder. All right, so we've got that all set. Now, very, very important for Tasker. I can't tell you how many times I've made this mistake. Whenever you've got this new action and this new task, make sure you save as you go by every step. So if it has a little diskette symbol up here, make sure you hit save. And then whenever you come out of this, and again, this pops up every time, we're just going to simply say okay. Or you can get that message to go away after you've read it a few times. All right, and so after you come out of all that, there's no save at this point, but if you go back one more option, again, if there's a save, always hit save. But if you go back one more option, we've got this check mark. All right, now if you don't hit that check mark, your task is going to go away. So we've got to hit that check mark. So super, super important. All right, so now we have our task, and this tasker task is going to execute the hello.py file. All right, one other thing that we need to do is this hello file is going to create output, because we're just going to simply have it do a print statement. And so it's going to create output. There's different types of output. If you have any errors, there's a standard error output, but we just want to capture the standard output. This it's like a variable. We've got this percent symbol std out, and we want to capture that. And so we're going to add another action to our task. So step 1 is going to be to run the file. We're going to have a step 2, so we're going to come down here and create. We want a step 2 that's going to give us an alert as a pop-up box. And then that pop-up box, we can call this whatever we want. I'm going to call it output. And that output is going to consist of the text from our Python file. All this will make sense in a minute, but we're going to come in now and type in the variable that will show us that standard output. So std out. All right. So this is going to be the second action in the task. The rest of this I'm going to leave as defaults. Here's where you can change your timing of how long that window stays up, but it defaults to looks like 5 seconds. Some things default to 10 seconds. We're just going to go ahead and leave it for now. All right, there's no save button, so we should be okay. We're going to come out here. We're going to click OK. Now, again, we're going to come all the way out so that we can get that final check mark and save that change. So now our task is made up of 2 actions. All right, so again, as of now, it doesn't do anything because now we've got to get to the meat of it, which is to write the Python file. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close this application, and we're going to then go into Termux. All right, so as we get into Termux, you'll notice it's literally just a command line type application. And so we've got all the power here if you know the commands that you're interested in. And I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this, but I'm just going to give you a few old Unix commands and show you what they do. So ls is for list. If you have any files in the folder, it would list them out. We don't have anything in there yet. pwd stands for print working directory, and that will show you the context that we're in. That's going to be very important. That's the default folder that it puts me in whenever I first start this application. And then cd is for change directory. But before we do a change directory, we have to do a make directory. So mkdir for make directory. And all of this is in the setup directions, but we're going to make directory. All right, so instead of typing that out in front of you, I went ahead and just wrote this out where you can see what I'm writing. It's mkdir for make directory. That little tilde squiggly mark says in my home folder, and we're going to do /.termux/tasker. So I've got that typed in here, and so we're getting ready to make that directory in our home location, and we're going to hit enter, and it makes it for us. All right, so before we get into that directory, I want to go ahead and show you how to install Python. Now there's some information that comes up whenever we first open Termux, and you'll notice in here that it allows you to install different kinds of packages, and so it's going to see Python as a package. So we're going to do a package install Python, and then whenever that is done, we definitely need to do this package upgrade, and that gets several things set and updated and ready for us to start using. So I'm going to do those 2 actions now. So package pkg package install Python. And we'll hit enter. And it's going to take a while. It's going to download a bunch of stuff and do a bunch of install. It asks me if I want to continue. I'm going to go ahead and say yes. Enter. Y enter, and here it goes, all this stuff flying across the screen. Takes a few minutes, and then again I'm going to do package upgrade. Alright, so this doesn't take too long, but I just wanted you to see this on the screen so you can follow along. And then let's see, it looks like it's about halfway done, 3/4 of the way done, and almost finished. Okay, now we're back to the prompt. So now I'm going to just simply type in package pkg upgrade. Do you want to continue? It's telling me how much space it's going to use. I'm going to go ahead and say yes. And there it goes. Lots of things, again, going across the screen of things it's upgrading, installing for us. All right, and I think that was necessary just for Termux. All right, and it's telling me it still is progressing. Let's see, it's giving me an option here. I'm going to go ahead and tell it yes, install. All right, so whenever this is done, we're going to do another command next. It's called nano, N-A-N-O. And then we can give it a file name. So nano is going to be the editor, text editor that I'm going to use. So N-A-N-O, it's just a very simple text editor. And then you can go ahead and give it the file name if you want. Now in our case, we're going to do hello.py. Sorry, I keep shaking that camera. All right, this is still installing, so I'm going to pause and then I'll come right back. Okay, I had to say yes a few more times, but now the upgrade is finished. And so like I was saying, we're now going to come in and do nano so that we get into a text editor. So nano, and then I want to go ahead and name the file as hello.py. Hello.py, and then we'll hit enter. And this gets us into a very simple text editor. And then you'll notice we have some options for some extra buttons here to add to our keyboard, but we literally just have our cursor up there and we're ready to start typing in. Now I'm not going to have you watch me, I'll come back and show you when it's done, but the very first line, super important, the very first line of your Python file needs to be this. And that way it knows where to find the Python that you've just installed. And so we're going to type that in, and then we're going to do our print world statement. So let me come back and I'll have that typed in for you. Okay, so now I've got that typed in. Again, make sure you start the file with this line, and I will bring this up just to show you, but we've got that typed in there, and then just very simple print hello world is just a very simple Python command. All right, so now in this, we are then ready to use some of these keys to simulate like a control key on a keyboard, a normal keyboard, but we're going to do Control X to exit, and then as we exit, it's going to verify, make sure we want to save what we've just typed in, and then allow us to confirm the file name. All right, so I'm going to hit Control X. All right, and then it's asking me, do you want to save the buffer? I'm going to say Y for yes. And then it wants to know, or do you want to name the file hello.py? And we do. And so I'm going to hit enter. And that takes us out of that editor, and we are back in just the normal terminal, back in the normal terminal environment. All right. So at this point, fingers crossed, we should have all of our steps done. So we have used NFC to tell this tag to run Tasker, and Tasker is running this hello.py file. Now, if you want to test it in here, you could always do Python hello.py. You can test your syntax in here, and it should print. It should print that out, which it just did, hello world. All right, now what we want to do, though, we're going to close everything, and then again, fingers crossed, we want it to execute Tasker, which will execute the script. All right, so here we go. There it goes. All right, I got a Tasker error. Let me try it one more time. We'll see if I can catch that error. I think it's a permissions thing. External access is blocked in the user preferences. Okay, so I think I remember where to go for that. So that we're going to go back to Tasker. And inside of Tasker, there is an option up here in the top right to preferences. And we need to allow external. Let me look in here. It's one of these. Let's see, in the UI. And the monitor. Go look at action. Here we go. So it's under miscellaneous, down and about the middle. We want it to allow external access. And so we're going to click in that. All right, and then we're going to back up. We're going to notice that we've got a check mark in here again. So we're going to have to click the check mark to make sure that that was permanently accepted. All right, and then I'm going to close Tasker again, and we'll try our tag again. All right, so here's the tag. I'll see if I can get in the right spot to scan it. It's a little bit tricky to know the spot. There it goes. Tasker task executed. All right, now more troubleshooting. Why did it not show our hello world? All right, so let's go back to Tasker. And I'm going to actually just run the task in here. We've got a little button down here to... All right, we're getting some error. The executable file not found. Hello.py. All right, so it did not find our file. All right, so maybe I don't have the folder correct. Okay, so I think I found the problem. I'm going to leave this in the video just so you can see kind of how I did some troubleshooting there. It could not find the file, and then it just dawned on me. I got too excited to show you how to do the nano file name. Once we created this directory, I forgot to show you you've got to get into that directory and then create your file name. So let's go correct that real quick. Again, I've just opened Termux for the again from scratch, and then ls will do a list. It will show you, and you'll notice that hello.py file, it's in the wrong folder. It's in that home directory folder. We don't want it there. We want it in that embedded folder that we just created. So couple of ways we could do that. We could either take this file and copy it from one location to another. Well, we could move it from one location to another, or we could just simply get into that directory and create another file. I think I'm going to do the move route. So let me go verify that command. I think it's just MV. Okay, so I just looked it up just to make sure, but it's super easy. MV for move, the name of the file that you want to move, and then I'm going to move it from my current location into this new location. So this is all on one line, but this is hopefully this will work okay. And then if I get the file moved to that new location, all right, didn't get any kind of error message there. I'm going to do another ls right here just to show that it's no longer here. All right, so now that we've got the file into the correct location, here we go again. We're going to see if this will do our hello world Python script. Did it? Ah, yes, it worked. So there we go. That's all the steps. You need to have the NFC tools to tell the tag to execute a tasker task, and then that tasker task can then go in and execute a Python script. But you've got to have the Python script installed in the correct location. And then I have gone through the motions of setting all this up from scratch to show you how to install Python. And then don't forget to do that upgrade command, the package upgrade, after you install Python. And then everything should be good to go. And then from there, you can go in and get as complicated a Python script as you want. So on this phone, I have a Python script that is turning this light on and off. So let me make sure that's still working. Yeah, so it just turned the light off. Let me turn that light back on. Let's see, and then I will go in and show you what that looks like. All right, so on this phone, I have a tasker task called plug 1, because this is controlling a smart plug. And so the NFC tag is executing this plug 1, and you'll notice it's doing the exact same task. It's running a Termux script, and so it's called plug1.py, and then it's doing the output. Actually, instead of doing the standard output, I did the standard error here, so I could help troubleshoot my errors as I ran into them. But otherwise, it's still the same. And then let me go open up Termux. Alright, so ls, again, ls will give me a list of commands that are in there, and pwd shows me my print working directory, in all lowercase, pwd. And so if I don't want to see that directory, then I can do change directory to get into a different one. I think I've typed that command in before, so this up arrow shows me all these things I've typed in before, so this is super helpful. So let me see if I've got my, change directory .termux/tasker. All right, and that gets me into a new directory. If I do ls, I have a handful of files in here, but you'll notice that plug1 file is one that I've got. I'm going to do my up arrow so that we can do a nano command. Oh, there it goes, of that file. And then just to show you, I know you may not be able to read this completely. I may put it in the details, but this is the Python file that is turning the plug on and off. So this one, I've shown this before in a previous video. It's just you have to know the IP address that's associated with the plug, and you have to download a module for that. So you can download Python. You can also pip install these modules in this Termux application. So far it's been very, very powerful. all kinds of Python scripts can now be executed from these NFC tags. So much fun, and I know this has been lengthy, but hopefully I've got every step in there covered. So feel free to jump forward and back, and just let me know if you have any questions. I will try to help you out. And then please hit subscribe if you haven't already. Hopefully this will live out here on the internet for quite a while, because I tell you, I've been searching forever on good instructions on how to get this to work. So it's really, really powerful. So Android phone being able to have an NFC tag execute Python. The only disadvantage of this is it does require these 3 apps. So any phone that you have that you want to also execute those tags, they're going to have to be set up the same. So you're going to have all 3 apps on that phone to be able to get this to work. So that's the biggest disadvantage, but otherwise this will open us up to all kinds of cool potentials. So if you ever have any idea for something you want to see these tags do, let me know in the comments, and I'll see if I can figure out how to do it. Thanks so much. Talk to you later.